All right, welcome back and welcome to AI Agents with Zapier. So if you remember in the beginning of this section, we discussed the differences between Zaps, chatbots, Canvas, and agents, and more importantly, the difference between chatbots, Zaps, and agents, because Canvas is just a visualization platform, not really relevant in the discussion of chatbots and Zaps versus agents. But if you do remember, I said that AI agents were practically AI assistants. So you give them a task or you give them a goal, and they, using your knowledge source that you give to them and your instructions, they will achieve that goal or they will work towards achieving that goal. So for example, one of the AI agents that we'll be creating in this course is something that will auto classify tickets from our Zendesk queue. So Zendesk is just a platform where users can submit tickets. So think of like billing support or help desk tickets, stuff like that. And our agent will auto classify these tickets and it will forward it to our Slack channels. So what it's going to do is it's going to provide a summary, and using its own ability to reason and also using our guidelines or instructions, it will be able to determine what type of ticket it is. So if it's a billing ticket, a IT support ticket, or so on, and depending on what it is, it will auto classify it and forward it to the correct Slack channel. Now, we'll be going into this specific agent a little more in detail when we're actually building it, but I just want to give you a quick overview of what an agent can do. So this agent is reading tickets, and this is the original ticket. You can ignore all the messages below this one. These are just test replies, but this one right here is from our original user. And in the real world, the user will not be me submitting a ticket. It'll be someone else, and then the developers will reply. But anyways, the ticket goes, "Hello, I need help getting a refund for a product I purchased from your store. It is for $149 and the product is a headset." So this immediately tells our AI agent that this is related to billing, means it's a refund request. So billing will have to process that request back to the user. So the AI agent is able to recognize that, and then based on its own logic and our instructions, it is able to forward it to the correct Slack channel. And then once it recognizes the channel to send it to, it provides some information such as the ticket ID, who requested it, the subject of the ticket, and a description of the ticket. Also, down here, it is referencing our knowledge guides. So I just fed this AI agent some different files like PDFs that just say, here's some of our return policies, here's some of potential resources for these help desk tickets. It's just random stuff I asked ChatGPT to help me develop. Now, all this relevant information here is not seen by the end user. It's actually used for our development team. So as a developer, I'll be like, okay, or rather as a billing support employee, I will be able to read this procedure and I can say, okay, I don't have to look this up because our AI agent just told me what the policy is. And now that policy is given to our AI agent by us, but I don't have to go look it up on my own because, well, if I forgot, the AI agent just helped me out. So now I can say, okay, well, returns are offered within 14 days of purchase. If this is within 14 days, which I could look up on my own, or I could also have, if we had the infrastructure in place, I could have the agent look up when it was bought and look up other details. But of course, that's way out of scope of this project. So I can then say, okay, let's assume that this was purchased within 14 days. And then I can say update ticket 6, tell the end user that their refund has been processed and they should see it in their account balance in 5 business days. Now I have another AI agent that is listening to these channels. It listens to these channels and it reads the message sent here and it will summarize it into a professional manner and reply back to the end user. So a good example of this would be right here. So I said, "Dear customer, your refund has been processed. You should see the amount reflected in your account balance within 5 business days. If you have any further questions, please let us know." Now this was generated by AI automatically. It's just taking what I said here and rewording it to be professional. So as a billing support employee, all I have to do is comment in this Slack channel and our AI agent will automatically reply to the user. Now you could go a step further and you could just have your AI agent solve these tickets on its own. That of course is an option, but I did want these tickets to go to our actual employees so they could review and try to resolve these. But of course, just as I am replying to this here, you wouldn't even need to go to this step. You could just have an AI agent solve these tickets on its own. Now, of course, tickets that are IT related will be more difficult and it'll be a much more complex AI agent. For example, let's say that a ticket is submitted that they say, I can't connect to the internet. Well, if an AI agent were to solve that ticket, they could give the end user some guidelines, something to try, but if none of those efforts work and you need actual intervention or someone to connect to the machine, well, that's out of scope of the AI agent. Now, maybe at some point an AI agent could remote connect to the machine and then run some troubleshooting steps. I could see that being a realistic possibility. But again, if that is possible, I'm not aware of it. And that is also out of scope of this beginner's guide to Zapier. Okay, so we have run through one of the projects we're going to build. We're also going to build an auto replier, so an auto email replier. So whenever someone sends an email to us, this AI agent will automatically reply. Maybe think of it as some AI assistant that helps you with leads. So if an end user reaches out for more information, the AI agent could dynamically reply based on what it's given, and then based on its knowledge source, and then reply to them with whatever is relevant to what they're asking. So let's go over and click agents and see how we can build our own. So here are 3 AI agents I have, and you'll notice a few things on the left-hand side. So first we have all agents. So that's just where we're seeing all of the agents we've ever created. We also have all activity. Now this means all the runs that have happened with these agents. We also have something called pods. Now pods are a way to organize your agents. So for example, I made a Zendesk pod because I have 2 agents that work on the same type of thing. They both have 2 separate tasks, but it's all related. So a way to organize this would be with pods. So if you had maybe 5 to 10 AI agents working on a specific goal or specific task, you could throw them all in the same pod to keep things organized. So let's head back to all agents and let's look at some of the details here. So when you create an agent, you'll have an agent name, and then some default instructions will be populated. And of course, we'll be updating those to fit our needs. You'll also see last run details, the apps that it's working with. So we have Slack and Zendesk here. This one has Zendesk and Gmail, and it also has Slack. I don't know why there's not a logo there, but Slack is also included. Over here on the pods side, this is just the pods that it belongs to. The Gmail auto replier is a solo agent. It does not work with any other AI agent, so I did not create a pod for it. So let's go ahead and click on new agent. You can click it over here or click the button here. Either works. And you can see that there's a few examples that you could build off of if you don't want to create something from scratch. So for example, if we wanted to, let's just use some basic connectors, a support email agent, that's easy enough. If we click on that, we can see the trigger, which we know from our workflows is the event that has to happen for this agent to do anything. So if you remember, a trigger is something that causes other things to happen. So in this case, this trigger is a new email. And once we receive a new email, this AI agent will do whatever it's instructed to do. So the description here is when I get a new email, look at the contents, determine if it's a question from a customer. If it is a question from the customer, you can look up the answer in use find data to add a data source here. So example, maybe this would refer to a Google document or something like that. And then it says, if you find an answer to the question, create a reply to the customer in a direct but courteous tone with the correct answer. And then down here it says, do not attempt to answer a question if you do not say a good answer. So it sounds like this AI agent is going to go through their knowledge source, see if any of the data matches what the email is about. And if it finds something that is a good match, it's going to reply automatically to the end user. If it doesn't find anything that's a good answer, it's not going to try. It's not going to bother. So I could say, let's create, or I don't have to say that. Let's just say, whenever I receive an email, I want this AI agent to auto reply with a picture of a dog. Something random, just an example. So if I create this agent, it's going to automatically give us a draft of what the connections would be. Now the Gmail account I'm using would just be this one here, and I'm going to click create. There's no other that are needed just because I'm just emailing end users. So I'm going to click on create, and now we have a few different labels here, a few different options as far as what we can do with this. And you'll notice that there's not as many tabs as there was for a chatbot. With these AI agents, you're more or less just dragging and dropping these different tools. So first, let's look at the bigger picture. we have the same exact labeling on the left hand side. It's the same exact menu. It's just a little side menu. Right here is all data related to our AI agent. So we can preview it here, we can test it, or we can look at the trigger and look at the instructions on the left hand side. So the trigger is a new email, and this is our linked Gmail. Or we could also replace the trigger with something else. So maybe we want to change it to Slack or Google Forms or whatever else you want to make an AI agent for. I'm going to leave it as an email. Now we have these instructions that we could modify. We could also insert tools, but for now, let's just look at the default instructions that they've provided for us. So they said when a new email is received in your inbox, you're going to do the following steps. You're going to first retrieve a random picture of a dog from an online image service. Then you will compose a new email and you'll reply to the sender of the email. It'll say, and the next step is to compose a new email reply to the person who reached out. The third step is attach the dog picture to the reply email, and then finally we'll send the reply email. Expected output, the sender of the original email receives an automatic reply containing a picture of a dog. So no matter who emails me, I have no parameters set. It doesn't matter who emails me, even if it's not even a person, even if it's some automatic reply from some no reply email, even if it's spam, it's going to auto reply. Now I could add some parameters here and say only reply if the domain of the email is at cloudtraderacademy.com. So whenever someone from cloudtraderacademy.com emails me, I will automatically send them a picture of a dog. But if someone using some Gmail address emails me, I will send them nothing because it will never be triggered, or it'll be triggered, but it'll never even take into consideration that email. Or if we want to go a step further and limit how many times this AI agent is triggered, we could click the settings here and we could listen to certain mailboxes. But I'm going to leave it as inbox and click cancel. So we have the trigger here, we have the instructions, and we also have this insert tools option on the right hand side. So if we clicked insert tools, we have some different options. I'm going to click on add tools from 7,000 plus apps, and you can see just how many options we have. And of course, there's way more. So for example, if I wanted to, I could link it to a Google Doc, and I could say, only send pictures of dogs that are labeled, or the breed is labeled in this Google document. And then in this Google document, I could say, you know, poodle, German Shepherd, Husky, etc. So whenever someone emails me, I'll only reply with a picture of one of those 3 dogs listed in this Google document. So let's try that out now. I'm going to go and create a new Google document file. All right, so we have a blank file here. I'm going to say, we're going to say poodle, Husky, German Shepherd, and let me specify here, let's say dog breeds, Husky, German Shepherd, let's say pug. I spelled shepherd wrong. Let's just call it good. It's good enough. We got 4 dog breeds and that'll be fine. Okay, so now we will save this as dog breeds. There we go. Let's head back to our AI agent, and let's say instead of retrieve a random picture, we're going to say view our knowledge, or view the document here for a list of dog breeds to then look up images for in Google. And we're going to send over this Google document, click that, and then I'm going to link my documents. So we'll say find a document. I'm going to click the setting gear here, and we'll click my drive. I'm going to say set a specific value, my Google Drive, and then my document name. I'm going to also say set a specific value. If I wanted to have multiple documents, I could say let the agent find it on its own, but I'm going to say what the actual file name is. Okay, so I'm going to type in dog breeds and click save. All right, so now we have the instructions to view the document. We'll get rid of that. View the document for a list of dog breeds to then look up images for in Google. We could just say view the doc. I guess that's fine. We'll see if it's able to recognize this is not the same step. And then we'll say for step 2 to go, actually, let's do this. Let's insert a Google search. I'll say look up, or let me go back. Before the Google search, I'm going to say look up one of the dog breeds mentioned in the above documents, and then move on to the following steps. We'll say look up one of the dog breeds mentioned above documents, make a copy of one of the images, and then do the following. Let me just renumber these. There we go. All right, so I think this should be okay. Let's retest our agent and just see if it's able to recognize these steps. Now, sometimes I will go to ChatGPT, or let me say most of the time I'll go to ChatGPT, ask ChatGPT to reword this to where it makes sense to where the AI agent will understand it, but I'm just gonna leave it like this and see if it's able to work. Right now, it's just testing it in a preview environment. If I wanted to actually make this work, whenever someone sends me an email, I would first have to enable the agent, and then whenever someone emails me, these steps would follow. Now, I want to make sure that the agent is actually able to work the way intended before I end up publishing it. And that's the usefulness of the agent preview. So we'll wait for this to grab the data. Okay, so the trigger went off, but now it says it can't find the Google document. And I just realized I put that Google document in the wrong Gmail account. So let me switch over to the Cloud Trade Academy Gmail and upload that document. All right, now that I am in the right Google account, let me rename this to dog breeds. And let's try that again and see if it's able to find the document. So let's click on retest. So I had to make a few changes to these instructions. If you look, I had to replace the Google document with just a straight up PDF. So if you go over here to add tools and then click upload CSV or PDF, that's all I did. And all it is a PDF of this Google Doc here. The problem was that this AI agent couldn't read that file, even if I made it a shareable link. So much easier just to use a PDF. Next up, I had to reword step 2. I said, look up one of the dog breeds mentioned in the above document. And then I used the Google search action here. So it would Google search for the dog, and then it would follow these steps to save an image of one list of dogs. Then the following steps remain the same. We can see in the email, it looks like it sent a link. I'm not sure if it's actually an attachment or if they just sent a link to it, but I have verified that this attachment is, of course, a poodle. And now if we head back, we can say that this is good and we could approve it. Now, when I click approve, I could go to my actual emails and I believe this will actually reply. I'm not sure who this is gonna go to. I think it's just gonna break. I'm curious, I'm gonna go check my emails. Okay, so I found the email. It was in the spam, and it looks like it did actually attach a dog image just like that. Whenever we get an email, if we turn this AI agent on, so if I turn this on, whenever I get an email, it will auto reply with a picture of one of the dogs listed in this document. So just like that, we made an AI agent that does something very simple. I won't lie, it was a very straightforward and easy AI agent, but we will begin to make these a little more complex and show how it can dynamically reply based on the given information. I'll see you in the next video where we'll make another AI agent tool that will be an auto reply via Gmail, but it will have these dynamic replies and different instructions and so on. And if we wanted to, we could also log the emails received or do something else. We'll see. We'll get over there and come up with something.